Agnelli. Giovanni Agnelli started Fiat in Turin, Italy in 1899, when cars were brand new and only rich people could buy them. During both world wars, they made vehicles and military equipment for Italian soldiers. After the wars ended, Fiat became Europe's biggest car maker by building cheap cars ordinary families could afford. Today, the Agnellis own Ferrari, the world's most expensive car brand, plus Juventus soccer team. Their main company, Exor, controls billions of dollars in investments around the world. The family remains Italy's most powerful business dynasty. Slim. Carlos Slim made his fortune when Mexico decided to sell its government-owned phone company during the 1990s. He bought Telmex for $1.8 billion and turned it into a monopoly that controlled most of Mexico's phone systems. His company, América Móvil, now provides phone service to over 280 million customers across Latin America. Forbes magazine ranked him the world's richest man from 2010 to 2013. With wealth over $70 billion. Today, his empire employs over 200,000 people and affects every part of the Mexican economy from phone calls to shopping centers. Ambani. Dhirubhai Ambani started with just $300 in 1958 and built his company, Reliance Industries, into India's biggest private company. He began by trading spices and fabrics before moving into oil refining and making chemicals. His sons, Mukesh and Anil, inherited the huge business and split it between them after family fights. Mukesh's Reliance now controls Indian oil, retail stores, and phone networks with income over $100 billion every year. His Jio phone network signed up 400 million users in 4 years by offering very cheap internet plans. The family owns Asia's most expensive private house, worth over $1 billion, and regularly appears on lists of the world's richest people. Quandt. The Quandt family fortune started with making textiles in Germany during the early 1900s. Herbert Quandt saved BMW from going out of business in 1959 by putting family money into the struggling car company. Turned BMW into a luxury car brand that competed with Mercedes-Benz by making better engines and marketing driving performance. Today, his children and grandchildren own nearly half of BMW through investment companies. The car maker generates over $15 billion in yearly profits from expensive cars sold around the world. The family also owns pieces of drug companies and technology businesses across Germany while staying completely out of the public eye. Hermes. Thierry Hermès started making horse saddles and harnesses in Paris in 1837, working for rich European nobles and their expensive horses. When cars replaced horses, Hermès switched to making luxury leather bags and fashion accessories instead. The famous Birkin bag became a status symbol that costs more than most cars, with waiting lists that last for years. Today, Hermès keeps their products rare by making very few items and only selling through exclusive stores. The company controls every step from raising the animals to selling the final products. Family members still run the business and own over 2/3 of shares worth tens of billions. Wallenberg. The Wallenbergs built their empire through banking in Sweden during the 1800s. André Oscar Wallenberg started a small bank in 1856 to help local businesses with money. The family slowly bought pieces of big Swedish companies using their bank's money. By the 1900s, they owned parts of Ericsson, Saab, and dozens of other businesses. Today, they still own the same companies, but now they're huge global businesses. Ericsson builds cell phone towers in over 180 countries. Their bank SEB handles money for millions of people across Europe. A family foundation started in 1917 keeps growing their wealth from one generation to the next. Mars. Frank Mars created the first Mars candy bar in 1923 from his kitchen in Washington State after years of trying to make successful candy. His son Forrest took the business worldwide and invented M&M's, Snickers, and other famous candy brands that everyone knows today. The family kept their company completely private and avoided all publicity for decades. Today, Mars is America's 6th biggest private company, making over $45 billion yearly from candy and pet food sold everywhere. They own popular pet food brands like Pedigree and Whiskas that control huge parts of global markets. The Mars family owns the whole company across 3 generations and keeps strict privacy rules. Cargill-Macmillan. William Cargill started trading grain in Iowa in 1865 right after the Civil War ended. His company grew by building big storage buildings for grain and buying crops directly from farmers during harvest time. The Macmillan family joined the business through marriage and helped expand operations to other countries. Today, Cargill is America's biggest private company with $165 billion in yearly income and business operations in 70 countries worldwide. They control huge parts of global food supply systems, trading farm products that feed billions of people every day. The founding families still own the entire company and keep complete control over operations. Koch. Fred Koch made his fortune by building oil refineries during the 1920s and 1930s. His son Charles expanded the family business into Koch Industries, which is now America's second biggest private company. They own oil refineries, chemical plants, paper mills, and manufacturing facilities that make enormous amounts of money every year. The Koch brothers became famous for giving hundreds of millions of dollars to conservative political causes and candidates. They built political networks that rival major political parties through organizations they created and funded. Today, Koch Industries makes over $125 billion yearly. Charles Koch owns 42% of the company, worth over $60 billion, making him one of America's richest people. Rothschild. Mayer Rothschild started as a coin dealer in Frankfurt, Germany during the 1760s, helping local merchants and rich people with their finances. He sent his 5 sons to start banking businesses in major European cities: London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and Frankfurt. The family made huge fortunes by lending money to European governments during the Napoleonic Wars. They had the fastest private information networks in Europe, using messenger pigeons and fast riders to learn about battle results before governments did. This information advantage let them make profitable investments before competitors could react. Today, separate Rothschild banks work independently in London, Paris, and other financial centers, giving advice to governments and super wealthy families. Windsor. The British royal family built their wealth over hundreds of years through owning land and having political power across their huge empire. Queen Victoria expanded British control to India, Australia, Canada, and dozens of other territories during her 63-year rule. The Crown Estate owns massive amounts of valuable London real estate and countryside farms that make money through rent payments. Today, the royal family gets income from government funding, private estate revenues, and investment portfolios managed by professional money managers. King Charles III inherited private estates worth hundreds of millions more. Royal warrants allow hundreds of companies to advertise official royal approval, which boosts their sales around the world. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller built Standard Oil into America's first great business monopoly during the late 1800s through aggressive tactics and buying out competitors. At its biggest point, Standard Oil controlled over 90% of American oil refining and distribution, making Rockefeller America's first billionaire. The U.S. government broke up Standard Oil in 1911 under laws designed to stop monopolies, but Rockefeller kept his ownership shares in all the smaller companies created from the breakup. Those pieces became ExxonMobil, Chevron, and other oil giants, still making huge profits today. The family started Chase Manhattan Bank and gave money to build major universities. Today, Rockefeller family foundations control over $5 billion in assets. Morgan controlled American banking and business financing during the early 1900s as the most powerful money man in the country. His bank provided money to create General Electric, U.S. Steel, and other huge companies that defined American industry. Morgan personally saved the U.S. government during financial panics before the Federal Reserve System existed to provide economic stability. He collected art masterpieces and built libraries that became major public institutions. Today, J.P. Morgan Chase is America's biggest bank with over $3.7 trillion in assets and over 280,000 employees worldwide. The bank provides money to major companies, gives advice to governments on economic policy, and manages trillions of dollars in client money. DuPont. Eleuthère DuPont started his gunpowder company near Wilmington, Delaware in 1802 after moving from France. The family supplied explosives for the War of 1812, Civil War, and both World Wars, making enormous profits from military contracts. DuPont expanded beyond explosives into chemicals and invented materials like nylon, Teflon, and Kevlar that completely changed industries from clothing to cookware to bulletproof armor. The company became one of America's biggest chemical manufacturers with research facilities and factories around the world. Today, the original DuPont company has split into several different businesses, but family wealth stays concentrated among descendants. DuPont inventions in plastics continue making money through patent licensing from competitors globally. Vanderbilt. Cornelius Vanderbilt built his transportation fortune starting with steamboats and ferries around New York Harbor during the early 1800s. He expanded into railroads during the 1860s and eventually controlled most train traffic between New York and Chicago through his New York Central Railroad system. When he died in 1877, Vanderbilt was America's richest man with wealth over $100 million. His descendants built huge mansions in Manhattan and Newport that defined the Gilded Age period of extreme wealth and luxury. The family started Vanderbilt University with a $1 million donation. However, the transportation fortune gradually disappeared among multiple heirs through expensive spending and bad investments. Today, most Vanderbilt wealth is gone, but the family name still represents American elite society. Habsburg. The Habsburg family ruled the Holy Roman Empire and later Austrian Empire for over 600 years until their political power ended in 1918 after World War I. They controlled huge territories across Europe through strategic marriages, military battles, and diplomatic deals that made them Europe's most powerful royal dynasty. At their strongest point during the 1500s and 1600s, they ruled Spain, Austria, Hungary, and much of Central Europe, plus colonial empires in South America. The family gathered incredible riches through collecting taxes, controlling international trade routes, and owning profitable silver mines in South America. After World War I ended their political authority, the Habsburgs kept significant private wealth, including castles, art collections, and farm estates. Today, family members live quietly as private citizens, but still own properties and businesses worth hundreds of millions of dollars.